Welcome to Not Starving Artists, the podcast. I'm Brooke, your host, money coach, and financial cheerleader, here to teach you the money management and mindset strategies of high-earning creatives. I graduated from college broke with a BFA in theater, having constant panic attacks about paying rent. And now I am a working actor, artist, and business owner in New York City, making a full-time income as a self-employed creative and on track to be a multi-millionaire in retirement, while still enjoying plenty of vacations and happy hour margaritas. So get ready to learn how you, as a self-employed hottie with fluctuating income, can have a relationship with money that feels safe, spacious, and sexy. The best part? No budgeting or bi-weekly paychecks required. Let's dive in. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. We're talking about switching banks today. Because here's the thing. Switching banks is one of the lowest effort ways to start drastically changing not only the practical things you're seeing in your bank accounts and the habits around your money, but your emotional relationship with money, how you feel about money and your financial confidence. And I am not exaggerating when I say this is one of the biggest and easiest things to do. Because the thing about your financial life, I know a lot of you, and I've heard this in my DMs recently, of like feeling like you need to overhaul, or like I finally just like need to get all this shit together. And it kind of feels like this big twisted tangle of money mess where you're like, I need to get my money shit together. And when you think about doing that, you are expecting it to take a lot of time and a lot of energy. And it's going to be this big overhaul. But time and time again, what I have seen is that it is probably just a handful of very manageable tasks and habits that need to be changed, and only a handful. And you can do them one at a time to start creating momentum to make getting your money shit together feel easy and actually be a simple task that is not this. I think sometimes I see people approaching their financial wellness like 75 hard. I think that 75 hard is one of the dumbest things. If you don't know what 75 hard is, I don't even know the parameters of it. I think it's 75 days, or I don't know. There's a list of all of these things where like no alcohol and no sugar, and you have to work out twice a day, and one of those has to be outdoors, and a certain amount of water that you're drinking and a certain amount of steps, and it's like every single day. Oh, and you have to like read a certain amount every day. Anyway, people always get to the end of 75 hard running on fucking fumes, and they have completely depleted themselves. And then there's no actual change moving forward. Like it just kind of goes back to the lifestyle they were living before. So it's like the people who do 75 hard, and I think I'm not a runner, so this is not me trying to like bash runners or like marathon running, but I do know that running a marathon, some people who decide to do this, it has this same energy of like, there's something about wanting to do something really hard in a really short amount of time, or a sectioned off amount of time, to show yourself that you can do something and you can do hard things. Now that inherently is not a bad thing. But where I see it bite people in the ass is doing that in order to then create a change in their life. But a lot of times what happens is you push yourself to the point of burnout doing those things. And then you end up back where you were before, but more frustrated because you're like, why didn't my life change? So a lot of y'all, I think, are approaching your finances in this way of like, okay, now I've got to go on the strict budget. Okay, now I have to be completely like aware of my money at all times. I'm going to look at my bank accounts every single day. I'm going to manage it every day. And I'm going to cut out all of the things that are unnecessary. And like, you like hunker down energy. And then what happens is you cannot sustain that forever and ever, amen. And so your finances end up in the same spot, or if not worse than they were before you started to like do the overhaul. So why I'm talking about switching banks today is because it is little shit like this that is actually going to have the biggest impact on your finances. But our brains hate this, because it doesn't like the idea that small little things that we do today or this week, compounded over time, are the things that actually make the real drastic lasting change. Our brains want the hit of like, I'm going to do this hard thing and I'm going to accomplish it and I'm going to stick to it. And then I'm going to have this huge payoff that feels really good in our dopamine receptors and like really good in our brain, thinking about all this hard work and how good we're going to feel at the end. Our brains hate the idea that it's actually not going to be that hard. And it sounds counterintuitive. This is also a whole other podcast episode. I might just do a whole nother episode on that specifically next week. I want to get back to banks because banks are one of these things. And we're going to come back to how this affects your financial confidence near the end of the episode. So switching banks is an example of one of these small things. And it's why it's one of the first things that I do with a lot of my clients when we first start working together is to switch them over to a bank that doesn't suck. Because most of the time, the people who are coming to me, they are banking with a bank that sucks. Your bank probably sucks, okay? If your bank is not an online bank with a high interest savings account or high yield savings account and does not have overdraft fees, your bank sucks, okay? Because there are so many options of banks that will pay you more money to have your money sitting in savings and will never charge you a fee ever. If your bank is not that, your bank sucks because there's another better option out there. Okay, so banks are a micro example of our financial system at large. We have been conditioned to believe that money is confusing and hard and high stakes, and it's always going to be annoying and boring to manage. And our banks reflect this to us. So I want you to think about Bank of America or Chase or Wells Fargo. And we see this like harsh red and blue, very stoic fonts and all these graphs of financial targets that don't actually mean anything to you. And anytime you try and call or have an issue resolved, you have to go into a branch or you have to pay a fee or you're stuck on hold for 40 minutes. And you have been conditioned to believe that this is normal in your financial life and that it's okay that this is the relationship with you and your bank. You have been conditioned to believe that paying a $35 overdraft fee is what you deserve because you made the mistake of spending more than you had, instead of the bank just not allowing you to complete a transaction if they're going to put you into overdraft, declining the charge, or a bank like some of the banks I'm going to talk about later that give you the benefit of the doubt. And they're like, oh, okay, like if you accidentally go over, that's fine as long as it's less than $100. We trust you to remedy it within a couple of weeks. You get used to and believe that it's normal that earning no interest in your savings account makes sense because the bank's doing you a favor by holding on to it for you, when actually they're taking that money that you're depositing into that savings account and they're using it to give out loans and to invest it to make themselves money. They are using what you are depositing to make themselves money. They should be paying you interest. You've gotten used to the fact that, you just don't qualify for the waived monthly maintenance fee, that there is an account minimum and that's just how things go. And if you dip below the account minimum, you're going to get charged a monthly maintenance fee. So you have to keep money in there at all times. You've been conditioned to believe it's normal that there are certain requirements you have to hit in order to waive a monthly maintenance fee or to not have an account minimum, right? In order to be able to use what you have in your checking account and not get hit with that monthly maintenance fee, you have to have a certain amount of direct deposits every single month with a biweekly paycheck. So of course, you as a freelancer, you're going to have to make sure you keep a certain amount in the checking account because you're not going to be able to get that monthly maintenance fee waived because you don't have a direct deposit, and that's just how it is. When there are other banks that don't have any requirements that you have to hit in order to waive a monthly maintenance fee or to not have an account minimum or to not have fee-free banking. If any part of your financial life annoys you or makes you cranky, it has to change because it's this small shit that adds up and really starts to erode your relationship with money. Those little annoyances here, the like, oh, I have to like make sure that I don't dip below that amount because I don't want to get hit with the fee. Those little things, they add up. And avoidance happens when you don't like your bank. It makes you not want to check your balances, not want to call to get an issue resolved. And it keeps you from wanting to go through the process of actually switching to something that's better. And every single money problem that you feel that you have is caused and exacerbated by avoidance. The reason that you have not been able to solve whatever money problem that you feel that you have right now is because you keep avoiding it or you keep shoving it back. And when you have these little things in your financial life that annoy you or bother you or whatever, it makes it really hard on a hard day to keep up with your money, with your finances, with like wanting to manage your money well. Because if you're already having an annoying day, you're not going to log into your harsh bank account that like brings up feelings of inadequacy because like you're probably going to have to like deal with that annoying thing, that charge that shouldn't have been there, and you just don't want to deal with it, so you don't even log in. That is the kind of stuff that fuels avoidance. Your bank is a toxic boyfriend, and the toxicity feels normal and comfortable. You've gotten used to it. You've been conditioned to believe that this is what it is. You've been so conditioned that this is what money management feels like, that any other reality where it feels fun and simple feels like a delusional fantasy world or feels too good to be true. And you don't even question it because it's not a big enough issue to be like, I've got to get out, right? It's small little stuff that's really easy to ignore, that's really easy to explain away. You also believe that the process of dumping said toxic boyfriend is going to be grueling and hard and take a lot more time than it actually will. And now this is where the analogy starts to break down a little bit. So we're just going to switch back to just talking about banks. All right. You've been conditioned to believe that the process of switching banks is going to be difficult and it's serious. It's serious when we move money around. I hope you can hear the sarcasm dripping in my voice right now, that it's really serious and we only switch banks if we absolutely need to. And every time you transfer money, that's a serious thing. And we need to button up our shirt and sit down at our computer because it's a big screen. It's a big screen task and we're going to switch. No. The effort that you are expecting to have to make is way over exaggerated in your mind. And you're thinking it's way more serious than it actually is, which is why you keep moving forward with a bank and a financial system that's like, fine, it's annoying, but whatever. No, your life is too short to not be having a great time managing your money. Every single time one of my clients has moved banks, has done this process, and some of them do procrastinate this for a long time because, and let me back up here. The procrastination from switching banks is usually because this is one of the first big money moves that you may be making when it comes to your financial wellness, of actually wanting to make things different, to change your relationship with it. Switching banks tends to be that first step. And for a lot of my clients, it is the first step that I'm giving them. And so the procrastination comes from a totally new realm. Of course it can feel scary. And of course, if you have experiences in your past that you're carrying into your relationship with money right now, that might make it feel scarier. Of course, you're going to put it off and put it off and put it off. But even the clients who have procrastinated it for months even, when they finally do it, they're like, oh my God, I can't believe I didn't do that sooner. Wow, it took me 10 minutes and I was expecting it to take like 2 weeks to finalize the process. Every single one of them has said, oh my God, that's so much easier than I thought. It's like flicking down the first domino to your financial autonomy. Now, why we're talking about this today is because I was reminded of how important this is as I was closing out an old bank account of mine during my CEO party on the 1st. Now, I'm going to just do a little tangent about financial CEO parties here. Something about financial CEO parties, which is step 3 in the 4-step anti-budget money strategy that I teach all of my clients, which is how to manage your money one time a month, only one time a month. And it's having a monthly money date on the first week of the month to manage everything, to set yourself up for the month, to do any money tasks that come up throughout the month. So instead of getting pulled into money management world all the time throughout the month of like, oh, I've got to transfer this here, I have to make sure this invoice hit, oh, I have to pay my quarterly taxes, or like, oh yeah, I should respond to this email, I should close this account. No, I just keep a running list of it for my CEO party one time a month. And then when I'm in money management brain, I do all of those tasks then. So one of those tasks for this financial CEO party was to close this old bank account that I had kept open for a while. And it was time to be done with it. So this was the very first bank that I ever had an account open at. My parents opened a joint account for me. It was the bank I had my first credit card at. So I've had it for a very long time. Now, normally I would have closed an account like this way sooner. But for a long time, because I was doing all of my banking online. And my partner, he was getting paid in a lot of cash at the time. And so we wanted a bank that we could deposit cash at in order to then transfer that cash into our usual financial ecosystem, like the banks that we actually use. So we were really using this bank as a pass-through entity for our cash. Now, I currently have an account open with Capital One, and Capital One has physical locations in New York where I can deposit cash. So I just want to say online banks are starting to partner with other companies and stores to be able to deposit cash easier. So I know one of them is now partnering with CVS, so you can deposit cash at CVS. I think Ally's partnering with Walmart. I have to go and look what the partnerships are. You can Google these as well. But depositing cash is becoming much easier, so you no longer will need like a pass-through bank if you deal in a lot of cash. But most of us are not dealing in a lot of cash these days. So anyway, I had kept it open as a pass-through account, and my oldest credit card, my first credit card, was opened through this bank. So because there's none in New York City, because I have other options for me with cash, because we're not really playing with that much cash anymore, it was on my to-do list for this CEO party to close that account, because I don't want to have to keep checking it for fraud if something happens. Like, I just want it out of my ecosystem. This is something that I call a money leak, which is, it's not really doing any harm. It's kind of a neutral thing, but there's just like this teeny thought in the back of my head of like, oh, I should check on that and make sure nothing's come through. And even little stuff like that can pile up and add up. So I want to make sure that everything I'm doing with my money is intentional and for a purpose. There's no more intention and purpose behind this bank account. Of course, with an old brick and mortar bank like this, there's no place to close the account online. So I did have to call. I was on hold for about 20-30 minutes. And when I got a hold of someone, they were like, okay, we can process the account closure, but you have 32 cents left in the account. It's going to cost you $10 for us to mail a check for 32 cents to you. I was like, okay, so I don't want to do that. And they were like, okay, well, do you have a different account you can transfer it to, like online, like when you log into your portal? And I logged into my portal, and the bank account that I have hooked up is my Ally bank account. So I went to transfer it, and it was like, oh, you're going to incur a $10 fee to even do like just an ACH transfer, a regular bank transfer to any kind of account outside of this specific bank ecosystem. And I was like, okay, so here's the deal, dude. Like, can I just forfeit this 32 cents? And he was like, okay, we can try and figure out how to get you to forfeit the 32 cents. We are going to send you a DocuSign within the next 48 hours to confirm that you want to close the account. So I have to like sign a piece of paper. And then also he said that if I had opened the account within the past 6 months, I would also incur, I think it was like a $25 fee for closing it early. But that didn't apply to me. But I was like, okay, clocking that's another fee that someone who didn't have this account open for that long would incur. I always clock like what are these banks charging fees for, because it's kind of ridiculous, the things where they're like, well, of course you'd get charged a fee if you open this account within the last 6 months. Like, it's normal. Okay. So then I also realized that the debit card that I had an expiration date from like years ago. And I was like, why have I not been getting like the new debit card? Because when they expire, they usually get auto sent. And I was like, my address is updated. So like, have these just not been coming? No, apparently I can update the address on my end, but on their end, the mailing address for each of the specific cards, the credit card and the debit card, had to be like manually updated on their end so that I would get the correct address, the card sent to the correct address. So they were able to do that because I also wanted to change like the credit card that I have with them was a joint credit card with my parents, and I'd love for that just to be separate. Again, like, there's no harm in that happening, but is there any intention behind me and my parents still having a joint credit card? No. But in order to remove them as joint holders of the card, I have to have the physical card in front of me, so they have to like send me a new one, and then I'm gonna have to call back to make sure that that one is unjointed. Because also I'm keeping that card open because it's my longest standing credit card. And so if I close it, it might make my credit score lower like a lot because the credit age will go down and it's my longest standing one. So I do want to keep that one open. So anyway, after, 45-ish minutes of this and going back and forth, then it was all good. 2 days later, I got sent the DocuSign, but it didn't give the option to forfeit the 32 cents. So I had to do some email back and forth. I'm now in a holding pattern of like, I don't care about 32 cents. Just let me close the account. So that's where I'm at right now. And as I was going through this experience, 45 minutes, I still don't have like full closure or confirmation. I know I'm going to have to call back to be able to unjoint this credit card. It made me so thankful for the banking ecosystem that I have now. It reminded me of the importance of having simplicity in where my money is housed, because I literally felt as I was on the phone, I was at a coffee shop because I was doing my CEO party. I had my cute hazelnut coffee. I was out in the sunshine. It was feeling good. Even in that environment, as I was on the phone, I felt myself just getting like cranky and annoyed and whatever. And I'm like, this is optional. Me feeling this way is 100% optional. I need to move myself. I can't expect this local humdrum old ass bank, brick and mortar bank to make things easier for me. But I do have the option to move myself into a place that feels easier, that is more simple, which is what I did, years ago. And I'm just like cleaning up loose ends here. Also, one last funny thing that they said was if I went into a physical branch location, all of those, like the 6-month closure fee or whatever, like could be waived if that applied to me. And potentially the $10 transfer fee would be waived if I went into a physical branch to do all of this. And that doesn't make sense because it costs them more money to staff a physical building and have a physical branch open. Why would me going and using more of their resources in that way save me money versus just doing it online? Like, I'm telling you, living in the dark ages, a lot of these banks. So I want to compare this to when I opened my Ally bank account. Ally is the online bank that I use. I love. A lot of my clients use them. I'm not sponsored whatsoever. I am waiting for the day that they put me on their sponsorship roll. I think they're an incredible organization. I really love their savings bucket feature. Also, I'm not going to go into I've hinted at all of the perks of online banking and high yield savings accounts and no fees. I'm not going to dive into all of that right now because all of that is recorded in my online course, and I give away the free, the first module, Finances 101, for free. So if you want to go learn more about online banks, you want to hear me talk about all the fees, you want to really understand why there are banks that are better for your financial wellness and ones that are worse for your financial wellness, and also it's a full checklist of how to switch, like the order of operations of what to do if you want to move from your current bank to a new bank. That's all in the free Finances 101 course. So there's a link in the show notes to grab that, get in there, start learning, do a deep dive in banks if you haven't already. Ally. When I opened my Ally bank account and switched all of my money over, I swear to God, 15 minutes total to open that new account and switch all of the money from my old bank. And I did it purely online. I didn't have to pick up the phone. I didn't have to do anything. Just filled in a few boxes and transferred it all over. So what I want to talk about now is what this does to your financial confidence when you switch, when you make this move. Because of course the logistical side is important. I want you to make more money in your savings account while it sits there doing nothing. I want you to make sure you're never paying a fee ever, even if you make a mistake, okay? But the part that I actually care the most about is how it affects your relationship with money and how it increases your confidence in your money management skills. Because when you show yourself that this is actually a simple process to do something that your brain had blown up into this whole big thing, it rewires your nervous system a bit. It goes from like you having to tell yourself, I can do hard things, and pump yourself up to like do the hard thing, to I can do hard things and usually they're not as hard as I think they are. You're going to give yourself the real visceral knowledge of experiencing that in a very low stakes way, because y'all, switching banks is so low stakes. It is so low stakes. One, opening and closing bank accounts have no effect on your credit score. That's a myth that goes around, that it like shows up somewhere and it like looks bad if you have multiple accounts open or if you've closed some or if you've moved some. That's irrelevant. And it's not scary to transfer money from one bank to another, even if for a time you see the money has left the other bank account and you're waiting for it to hit the new bank account. There's no like mystical ether that your money could disappear into. It's all tracked everywhere. And if you're at the correct banks, you have FDIC insurance. All of your money is protected. So it's so low stakes and it's so safe to do these things. So when you do this, it makes you feel in control, like you have choices and you have autonomy. The thing about doing something for your financial wellness that is purely because you want to, not because you need to, that does something to you. You're not moving because you're like actively being like detrimentally hurt by your current bank. You're just like, this bank is not really exciting. I like kind of don't like it. Maybe I just don't like the colors. It's like not a vibe. Yeah, I think I want to go somewhere else. And then you make that move. That does something to your autonomy, that you have choice in every single bit of your financial life, and that you are going to choose things that are actively exciting and feel good rather than just staying with things that don't actively feel really bad. Your money is meant to flow with you. It's meant to fit into your life. She can be managed in a way that works for you. You don't have to fit yourself into this financial management box that you think is the way you have to manage it. You can manage it at a bank that's pink and purple and not red and blue. You can manage it at a bank that has like cute little pictures next to all your savings buckets. You can have account names that are called Hot Girl Summer or Fuck Around Money or Babecation. It does not have to be so serious. You can have so much fun with your money management, and moving to a bank that allows you to have a little bit more fun with it and feel autonomous in your choice to do so, it does something to your financial confidence. This action is also making sure that your money is tied solely to you and what you want. It's not a holdover from childhood, not the bank account that your parents opened for you and somehow still have access to see how you spend your money. That's way more common than I think a lot of people realize. Like, parents have eyes on their kids' bank accounts well into their 30s, and I think we have normalized that in a way that is not fucking normal. It's no longer the bank that you shared with your ex, even if the accounts are no longer joined and it's just you that has access now. You're still remembering the energy of being partnered at that bank, and now that the relationship is split, like that energy is still living inside of that bank account. It's a bank that you're choosing that isn't the bank that holds the energy of credit card debt that you had to work really hard to pay off, or a bank account from a different phase of life where you are constantly in the red and getting hit with overdraft fees, and your nervous system remembers that, right? And has like the chest tightness when you log in, you see those colors or you see that interface. It's a bank and an interface that you are choosing that is making you excited, that only is tied to you, and it is your choice. If you take anything away from this episode, it is that you have got to stop telling yourself that it is going to take a God-sized amount of effort to achieve the financial life of your dreams, to achieve financial wellness and have financial stability. It is easier than you think. It is going to take a lot less time than you think. 1 hour a month is all you need to get your money shit together. And this is why I've decided to create and launch a brand new way to work privately with me for the summer months. And it's called the 30-day money glow up, because I want to show you how much fucking change you can see in your financial life in literally just 30 days. The 30-day money glow up can and must happen alongside your best summer life. Happen alongside vacations and brunches and Pride Month and people coming to visit and, you know, baking away in the sun. And living your best summer needs to happen alongside prioritizing your financial wellness, okay? Because your money plans need to coexist with a life that you love living. It has to, because otherwise you're always going to be at odds with, do I prioritize my financial wellness or do I prioritize enjoying my life? That is a crazy choice to have to make. And if that's the choice you're giving yourself, I will tell you to choose a life that you enjoy living. And that is why I created the 4-step anti-budget money strategy and a way of navigating your financial wellness that allows you to also enjoy your life. Because what the fuck are we on this planet for if not to enjoy life? But we need money to be able to do that. So both of them have to coexist, which is why this program is being offered for summer of 2026. Because I want to take, theoretically your most fun months. I venture to say you have fun all year long. But the summer, I don't know, summer 2026, I know y'all have seen it on TikTok, Instagram, like there is something special about what's coming up this summer, right? We're having a socialist summer. We are having a 2016 summer. We are having a get out and party summer. So this summer, to show yourself that you can have financial wellness and make actual tangible progress in your finances while also having potentially the most fun summer of your life, there's something about that, baby. So that's why I'm launching it and offering it this summer specifically. So with the 30-day money glow up, it is a private coaching program. It's just 30 days long. Traditionally, my one-on-one packages are 3 to 4 months long. So with the 30-day package, you get 2 private coaching calls with me, one at the top of the 30 days and one at the end of the 30 days. The first call is what's going to set up your cash flow system, your money flow method. This is organizing your finances. And if you're a returning client, what we do is this is just a time where we're going to tweak your money flow. We're going to brush it up, and then we're going to dive right into mindset work. So we start with the organization piece because that clears up 70% of your money anxiety and confusion. Most of your money problems are coming from like not having shit organized and not being able to see it clearly and not having a way to manage it simply throughout the month. So after we do that in the first call, then we're going to diagnose your biggest money mindset block. Now, this could be something like impulse control or like blackout spending. I call it fuck it blackout spending, when you just like get overwhelmed with trying to make the decision that you just go fuck it, black out and make the choice and like deal with the consequences later. This could be something like not believing you're skilled enough to earn a lot of money. And so when you continue to think about like your dream life, you keep capping yourself at what you believe you're going to be able to make income wise. This might be something like a fear of fucking it up, not feeling like you're capable of doing money management things like switching banks, thinking there's someone who knows better than you, thinking that there's someone else that needs to manage things for you. Whatever it is, we're going to zero in on that main thing that's going to keep you from taking action with the money plans that we are creating together. What your money goals are, the things that you want, what is the main contributor to your financial anxiety. We're going to make money plans to get you on the other side of that. But the mindset stuff is what's going to keep you from being able to take the action. So that's why we're going to diagnose that block first call. Now, from there, after our first call, you're going to get a personalized recorded affirmation meditation based on your goals and your blocks to listen to every single morning for the 30 days. Now, you're also going to get 30 days of access to the Cashed Up Creatives video portal, and that's going to support you in between our 2 calls. So if you have a question about the money flow method, the cash flow system that we set up together, there's videos to help walk you through that. If you want to learn about retirement accounts and you want to start getting excited about investing or what your like post 50-year-old life could look like, there's videos there for you. If you want to get realigned with your spending habits, or like you're feeling like you're starting to go into pinching penny territory, there are video trainings that will help push you back into alignment. It's all in there for you. So then at the end of the 30 days, we have our second call. And this is going to assess the progress. So you're going to end the first call with a very clear list of things to do and things to focus on. And we will have organized your money, and you're going to start then getting to live with that money flow. Now, the second call is to clean anything up. Like if there's any tactical tweaks we need to make to your money organization. You're also going to be keeping track of what's coming up for you in the 30 days so that during our call together, we can figure out like, oh, what blocks came up and why did they come up? And then how are you going to assess those moving forward? We're going to dive deeper into shifting that mindset stuff that came up for you in between our calls. Now, the second call, at the end of that call, you're going to leave with an action list, action steps, and things to focus on for the rest of 2026 to keep you on track and the momentum going. So we're basically going to like overhaul your shit in 30 days in the most fun and simple way possible. And then you're going to have clear things that you need to do and focus on for the rest of the year so that it doesn't just like fall flat. This isn't a 75 hard situation. This is a tangible and very realistic lifestyle change that will completely change the trajectory of your life, especially through the end of the year. You are going to shock yourself with how different you feel about money at the end of just 30 days. So I left the checkout link in the show notes if you want to click that there. But you can also DM me on Instagram. If you DM me the phrase hot girl summer, it'll send you like all the written details of all the stuff I've talked about here today. It'll send that all to you in writing and then also give you the link to check out if you want all of that there for you in the Instagram DMs. Summer 2026, like I said, she's got some good energy about her. So I want your money to be a part of that super fun fucking summer that we are all collectively about to have. I can't wait to coach you. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you want to become the financially confident CEO of your life and career, you can learn more about private coaching with me by heading to notstarvingartist.com and clicking on the one-on-one money mentorship page, or hit the link in the show notes. You can also grab my self-study online course, Cashed Up Creatives, which is the full financial curriculum that you were never given in college. You get the first module totally free, so click the link below and you can start learning today. For all workshop and speaking engagement inquiries, send a message to support@notstarvingartist.com. And as always, if you loved this episode, please like, comment, review, send it to a friend, and I will see you next week.